Okay. Okay, so let me exit out of here. So if you do ls-ld temp, okay, you see a little T over here, right? If you look closely, there is a T in this permissions here. What it means is, that means this is set with the sticky bit. By default, the temp folder is set with the sticky bit. So let's see how is this working. If you are a root or owner of the file, you cannot. If you are not, you cannot delete the file. This is a folder level permission. So if I go into cd temp and if I do ls-l, let me go ahead and remove files from here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as new session. I'm going to log in as Terminator. And I'm also going to log in as Spider-Man. Okay, let's go into cd temp. I do ls-l. I'm going to create a file, touch file 1. If I do ls-l, so he is a Spider-Man and also Spider-Man. So if I go in there as cd/temp, if I do ls-l, so if I try to remove file 1, it says remove write protected file 1. If I say yes, it says operation is not permitted. Okay. So let's create a folder mkdir. Let me do ls. mkdir slash I'm going to say data 1. Okay, I'm not worried about the rm-rf asterisk cd rm-rf
So if you were to,
What?
so if you were to give the execute permission to others, if you were to put in T, would it still not allow anybody except the you, the root and owner to delete?
I could barely hear you. Can you hear me good?
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's bad.
Okay. I said even if you were to give the execute command permission for others, but if you were to add the P on top of that, would it stop anybody besides the root or the owner from changing the
Yeah,
deleting the
that's what it is. Yep. It's a delete protection.
Okay.
So let's create a folder. So now I'm gonna go cd slash data1 and I'm gonna say touch. Let's see here. You know what? Let's do ls-ld temp. So temp, look at the temp here. Everybody has read write permission here. So let's go ahead and do that too. chmod 777 slash data1. Oh, he cannot do it. So let's do it here. Okay, and let me do touch file1, and he's able to do it. So we have a particular folder which has full rights to anybody and everybody, right? So let's do that. There will be a situation where you will have to have some kind of folder with everybody in your team has a delete protection. So I'm like, so this is owned by Terminator and group is machine here, but I'm as a Spider-Man. I could remove the file here and remove write protected regular file, yes. So he is able to remove the file. Okay, we don't want that. So what we could do is we will give him every rights except deleting the file. So what we're gonna have to do is, let me copy this. Okay, so we'll create a new folder, and then I gave him full rights, and as a Terminator he created a file, which is good. So this is like a working repository for a team. You know, a team could come in and start putting their stuff in there, but you don't want anybody to be deleting it accidentally or maliciously, any files in there. So you come in here, and at this moment Spider-Man is able to delete the file. Okay, so Spider-Man successfully deleted the file. Okay, so we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sticky bit on this. Okay, usually it's a temp folder, but you could get to see other folders being used as a sticky bit. So how do I do that? chmod Okay, and what I'm going to do is others, O plus T, and slash data. If I do ls-ld slash data now, so they have full permissions, read, write, execute, but you see it's a sticky bit in there. So if I do this here, and you see a little T showed up there. Okay, so which is very essential for it to data protection. Now the folder is protected with sticky bit. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here, and then I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go file 1, file 2, file 3, and let's see if the Spider-Man gonna be able to do that too. So if he is trying to go rm file 1, even though if I say yes, he says cannot remove the file, operation not permitted. He's able to read the file, execute it, and all the other things. He's able to do that. Okay, so it's not a big deal. Most of the time it's a temporary folder which is being used here, but you get the idea, right? So sometimes you need to limit people to have a delete protection on. Okay, all right, so so it looks good to me. Okay. All right, so now let's talk about FACLs, file access control list here. So we could give the permissions for the FACL to each individual. So each file could have an individual user permissions. Okay, let's see how that is gonna work. FACL file file access control list. So let's see how this is working. Let me get the definition first here, FACL. ls hyphen So let's see here. Okay. Let me explain you first how this is working before we dig in. So let's see here. Let's get let's create another directory, mkdir/bank. Okay, so you have a folder named bank, and then if you do ls-ld/bank, okay, these are the default permissions here. Okay, so now what you could do is you could get the permissions which are set here. Get facl/bank. Okay, so it says removing /bank from absolute path names, but it is looking at the correct name here. So in here, what you see is the owner is root, group is root. Okay, and it's the same thing here. This part is this part, and user is read write execute. So it's the user is read write execute. So who is the user? In this case, root, which is also a owner, and the group is read write, which is read write, and then read and execute. So this is what it is so far. Okay, let me copy this. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is let's go in there as terminator, cd bank, and if I do ls-l, there is nothing in there, so I'm gonna do touch file1, and I'll hit enter. Okay, and you said permission denied here. Why is the permission denied? Because he is not permitted to write to it. So if you look at this here, if you look at the permission here, right now he's part of other group, others is not. When you're doing the touch file1, that means you're allowing it to write to it, write to the folder, which is being denied, which is a expected outcome. Okay, give me 1 second and let me close the door. Can I get a chai? Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go in here. Expected denial for other users. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm gonna give, so this permission is not gonna change, but I'm gonna give the permission only to the specific user. So how do I do that? Set FACL -M. Okay, that means modify. U means user and a colon, and give it a name terminator. You could also give the ID here too. And then what kind of permissions you want to give? Read, write, execute. And where do you want to give? You want to give it to bank. Okay, and now get facal again. Now you see a user is going to be inheriting these permissions here. Now the terminator is a user now. He becomes a part of a user group. What permissions a user group has? This here. Still we assign him manually here read write. Okay, we could do only write and he cannot do read and execute. Okay, so let's stay with what we have here so far. Okay, so you grant permission to a specific user. I'm gonna do this, and here if you look closely, the user, he has this permission now. Okay, so now let's go in there and try to create a file here. He should be able to create a file here, and if you do ls-l, he's a part of a terminator group. So now he has a permission for grant permission to specific user on a folder. You could even do a micromanagement, and then you could do the permissions on let's see here, let's do ls-ld. Okay, I was going to show this here. So when you grant the permission, you see a extra plus sign in there. Where the dot was there, the dot was gone, and the plus sign is there. So I'll show you where. So you could see a plus sign. That means you could definitely say this is set as a facal. Okay. So we did it logged in as terminator, and this happened here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clear out of here. Now what I'm gonna do is, as a user terminator, I'm gonna grant facal on the specific file. So what I'm going to do is set facal -m, user colon. Now I'm going to give the user Spider-Man. See how these permissions are working. It looks really weird now. I'm going to give read, write, execute permissions, and then which file I'm going to give it to? File 1. Okay, and then I say get facle. I'm able to do this because I'm a file owner as a terminator. So the owner is terminator, and so get facle, file facle. The file name is that. Owner is terminator. He's the group, he belongs to machine. And then I add him as the user here. So user, at this moment, the Spider-Man has better what do you call it? Spider-Man has better permissions than Terminator itself because I gave him read, write, execute. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. So let's go in there. Let's go in as Spider-Man, and let me put some data in there. If you do ls-l, okay, so Terminator is there, but it's not going to show Spider-Man as secondary user. So you have to get a facle, get facle to get the secondary user information here. So I'm going to do vi file 1, and I'm going to say this is file 1 content. So I have some data in there. Now if I go in there as a Spider-Man, I could do cat file 1, no problem. I need to go into the CD bank location. So if I do a cat file 1, I'm able to do that. I'm even able to edit the file. I'm even able to edit the file here, so no problem. Okay. All right, so let me copy this.
Terminator can still delete the file, right?
Yeah, Terminator is still the owner, yes. If you do ls-l as Spider-Man, you see Terminator is the owner and the group is a machine.
But there was nothing protecting this, right, from Spider-Man from deleting this, being able to delete this?
You could do Spider-Man is also a owner now, if you look at it.
Okay.
If you look at it, get facle here. He's a user, is also owner here. I mean, I hate when this here owner and user are same thing. That makes you get confused. What I should think is they should get rid of owner, and then they should get they should keep owner, and the user would be referred to as others, and they should get rid of others.
So, like, if you were to put the T here, would it change anything or no?
Let's try that. So now remember, you have to do it as a root because root is the owner of the bank. So what you could do is chmod o plus t /bank. And if I do ls-ld, so you have a T permission also. Now, since Spider-Man is also the owner here, I suspect he's able to delete it.
Can't you add the T to the user or no?
Okay, so the folder, no, I think T is specific user or specific file.
So you can only use it for other?
I cannot hear you, Burhan.
So can you use it only for other?
No, you could use it for users, I suppose. T. Let's see here. These are really good questions. So you wanted to use it for user, right?
Yes.
And if I do LSF and LD, it doesn't. Let's try it for group, okay? For user, it doesn't make sense here, right? I mean, user is supposed to be able to delete it, and it's not giving the permissions for others either. So the user, when you're creating as a user, your default user is yourself. Your group is also yourself. So if you are a terminator, your primary group is terminator. In this case, we have changed it to machine. That's why it's showing machine. So right here, this is a root user, and then the group belongs to root also. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Now, if you're as a Spider-Man, so Spider-Man, you're able to do it and cat it and do all kind of things with this. Okay. All right. So let's move forward. And what else I have here? So cat. So I think we are coming to end for the permissions here, right? Yeah. Okay, I have a breakdown of how permissions are working on one of the other files. Let me put that here. Okay. It's not working the way I want it. Here, let me just okay, so let me do this. Copy. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the stuff I found it. You could just refer to it. I think you have a good grasp of this anyway. Okay, so now let's see here, chmod. I'm gonna put this in here also. These are the permissions. Oh, Undo. Okay, now what I'm going to do is here I'm going to put in the chmod, the things I have here. Okay. So these are like a rapid commands. I put it together. If you want to do a chmod, we already went through, but this is only informational. Using the numbers. This part is using the letters, and this part is using the numbers. Okay, how you could change the permissions rapidly. Okay, now the next topic is chh. What is chh? Okay, so this is a. So what will happen is you will get. So you do chh -l terminator. So what you have here is, I'm gonna copy this and so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What I'll do is break this up into 8. Okay, so this part, so the last password change, it gives you when the password was changed. Okay, now the next one is password expires. Okay, so this will is when is the password is going to expire. Password expires. Password expires date. Expiration date. And then the third line is so when will the password will become inactive. So this is a password inactive date. Okay, and then the maximum number of days between the password change. So password account expires. So there is also a ID/account, also just ID expiration date. And minimum number of days between the password change. Okay, usually this is set to 60 days. So when will be the next password will be forced to change here? Okay, so that's one. And then this one is the maximum allowable. So this is usually not set to 999. This is usually set to a large number, a smaller number like 60 days. Maximum days between the maximum days between the next password change. Okay, and number of days of warning. So it will give, this one is set to warning days. So if your password is going to expire in 7 days from now, it will start giving you a warning. Okay, and then last password change. What is it saying? Okay, so last, yeah, go ahead.
So if there's no expiration date, then why is there a maximum or minimum number of days between password change?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So by default, we didn't have a server hardened here. So by default, if you create a user terminator, what is it doing is it's so there is a configuration file that need to be updated for you to change that. So let's see which file is that. I don't remember that. I'm gonna put Linux in here. No, not this. Okay, PAMD. Okay, so Okay, so there is a let's see here what's in here. Password, account, password. No, this is not what I want. Login. All right, so it's okay, so I'm not able to find which file is that. Config util. So I think it's vi etc login definitions, right? Let me, okay, over here. So password aging controls, password maximum days 60, password minimum days. Let me see, let me look at the ID for Spider-Man. Okay, for this dude, the password is being password. So password it's enforcing for him here. Why is it not for enforcing for Terminator? Okay, I think when we created the Terminator, we didn't have these login definitions there enabled. I think this was all set to different. So let me do this. Let me log into another box and check the login definitions. I'm here into one of the other box. Okay, so these are the default settings here, okay? And then I went in there and changed it one time, I believe. And that's why you're seeing the different, so the default for the password age, this is the default one, and we change it around here. So Terminator was created before we created Spider-Man. So if you go, normally this is what you see at your school, I mean at your job. These are the settings here. Okay, and the default settings. Default settings for the password age is that, and then you change it here. And then where do you change that? You go in quit, and this is where you're gonna have to change the settings there. Okay, in here, let's mess around with it a little bit so that you would know going forward how this will be set here. So maximum days, password maximum days. That means a password could be no more than 60 days. That's the age of the password. After that, is going to expire. Password minimum days is 0. Okay, so that's what it's set to. And so minimum days and maximum days is kind of confusing. You don't really have to worry about minimum days. You just have to worry about maximum days. And over here, you have to set the length, how much the length of the password is, like 5 digit or 2 digit or 1 digit. Normally at any job you should have more than 8 digits password set, but that doesn't mean anything. A root could set a shorter password, no problem for root. And if a root is setting a password for others, he doesn't have any problem setting a shorter password. And then password warning age, that means it will start to warn you that the password is expiring 59 days. So I'm not sure how that is going to calculate here. So let's create a.
But I thought earlier it said it wasn't going to expire.
I'm sorry, what?
I thought it said earlier it wasn't going to expire.
No, that was for Terminator, not for the. So if we create a new one, is gonna take this effect. Because when we created a Terminator, this was set there.
Okay.
So normally this one's supposed to be 7 days. That's how it's good. Warning, length and all that here. Let's save and exit. Let's create ID. User add. I'm gonna say Iron Man. Okay, and then let's do CHAge-L Iron Man. So what happened here is the password is not gonna expire. Account inactivity is not gonna, if the account is not inactive for a while. You know how if you're not logged into the system for like 14 days, your system automatically get disabled here. So when you come back from vacation, you have to open a ticket to get it enabled. So you could do that. So password was changed today, and then password will expire on this day here. Why? Because it's been 60 days since then here. So here, if you look at it, 60 days from December 13 would be February 11th. And these two part, we're not worried about it. Minimum number of days between the change password. So minimum number of days between the change password is it's not enforced here usually, set to 60 days. I mean, it's not enforced. You enforce the maximum which is 60 days. Either you do this or you do this. And then 7 days before the expiration, it will start warning. So February, 7 days minus February 11th would be how much? On February 11th here, right? So February 11th, it will probably start bugging you on this day here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So February 5th, it will start bugging you to change the password. Okay, so that's good information. Let's go ahead and take a break now, and then we'll, this is 7 days. All right, we'll take a good 15-minute break here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back here. Are you there? Hello, are you there, Burhan? Hello? Are you there? Hello? Hello,
Hello, Sloan.
Jivas. Are you gonna join
Yeah,
or you want?
yes, I just need 2 more minutes.
Okay. All right. No
All right.
problem.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. So now, so we're done with the password part. So you do get request from the application team to set the password to never expire. Okay, so you could verify that, and you could definitely do that for an application team for the password to never
You're
expire.
still on mute.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So in reality, you will get some request for certain users, especially the application user, to set the password not to expire. Okay. So what you could do is you could okay. So let's see here. So if you run this command here, what will happen is it will set the password expiration to never, because sometimes this is essential. This is essential for the application to function correctly. Okay, why? Because the application is crossing over multiple servers, and you will get a request to do that. So you could just run the command like this. Okay, so if you look at this here, it has set itself to this thing here, overriding the default settings. So don't be surprised if you get a request like that, set password to never expire. All right, so the last part in permissions is last part in permission is chown. So we what?
I have a question. So CHAGE, that just shows you what your expiration date is and all of that?
No, CHH-L, and if you do Iron Man, it will give you the current settings for the specific user.
Okay.
Let me do CHH-L. Yeah, it doesn't tell you much, but you have to give the username, and then it will give you the output as that information here. And then yeah, go ahead.
Could you scroll up a little bit in the fighting? Yes, right there.
Yeah, this command I put it in here in the document.
You see that earlier when you did earlier for the CHH-L Iron Man, and how it shows account expires never, but then it shows maximum number of days between change password to 60.
Yeah, this is previous before I changed it here. I ran this command here, right?
Yes.
So here CHH-M means I will explain this to you actually.
Okay.
So
my question is, as it's set to 60 days, it'll expire, but above that it says account expires never.
there is two things here: the account as well as the password.
Okay.
Okay, so so the account expires, you could also set Iron Man to expire, not the password.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that is that. So normally, yeah, so you could have the password user ID also expiring here. So I think I put it up in here. So account expired, that means the user ID expiration date.
Okay.
So sometimes, you know how you have a contractor coming in for 6 months and all that, you could set those things in here.
Okay. Yeah, I got it now.
So minimum is 0, maximum is 99. L stands for -1. This means length. Okay, no, I stands for, okay, so I stands for inactive, so you're not making inactive. If you do -1, it's not gonna go inactive. And E stands for expiration date. If you go -1, it's not gonna go never. Yeah, I think you could figure that out here. All right, so next topic is chown. So we've been using other commands here for assigning the ownership of the file or the folder, right? We using a chmod command. You could definitely use chown command also, but chown is more geared towards you changing the ownership. Chown is to change / assign ownership of the files and folders to users and groups. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this here. So let's look at the bank. So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to go cd/bank ls-ld. I don't want to go in here. I want to use the data one as ls-ld data one. It has a sticky bit set, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this too. So let me create a brand new folder here. Okay, so mkdir /data2 rm-rf data1. Okay, so now if I do ls-ld /data2, this is what is going to come up. Okay, so these are the default settings here, right? Now what I want to do is so the first one is I want to do change the user ownership. So I'm going to change the ownership of the user here. So before that, let me go into data. Let's talk about the file first, then we'll talk about the folders. So I'm going to do touch file1, and if I do ls-l file1, so you have that information here, right? This is something default here. So change the file ownership. Okay, so what is the command I'm going to use? You could use chmod, but you could use chown too. Chown. Okay, and then who would be the owner for the file? I'm going to say terminator, and then I'll go to file1. And if I do ls-l file1, now you see a terminator is the owner of the file. Okay, so that's the file ownership. Touch file1 data. So I'm going to get rid of this part here. No, touch file1 and chown terminator. So now you see a terminator is the owner here, whereas the owner was root. So root is not the terminator here. Okay.
Show an example of using chmod too.
Yeah, chmod. Yeah, you use chmod also to do this. Right, we already use chmod, right? So I'm just showing you how you could use the chown. So this stands for change ownership. Sometimes chmod is a little confusing, but chown, it will give you a clear picture, okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and change the group here. So what I'm gonna do is chown. So here you could do, since these are, if you want to change the group here, you have to go chown, and if you want to do only the group, you have to do the colon here, because if you don't give the colon, then it will think this part you're changing the owner and the root. These together are together, right? So if you put a colon here, then it will think it's this part you're changing. So I'm going to do chown machine file 1. Okay, and if I do ls-l file 1, now the owner is changed. Change the group ownership. Okay, now what you could do is for the file, let's see here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is you could use chown, and you could do Spider-Man and a colon, and what is Spider-Man part of? He's a part of superhero. So what we could do is chown Spider-Man, then a colon, superhero, and file 1. So what it does is, in one shot, is you're changing the group as well as the file permission. Okay, file ownership actually. Change owner, change the owner and group ownership. Let's use the term user and group ownership. User and group ship. So this is what you do. Just type chown. Okay, and so that's about it for the ownership here. There is one more item called group. Okay, so change group. CHGRP, what is this for? Allow to change group only. Now there was a confusion here, right? How you want to change the group, there was some confusion here. You have to put a colon and all that, right? This is where the ch group comes in. It will remove the confusion. That's all it is. There is nothing more to it. So let me clear this. If I do ls-l file 1, now what I want to do is chgrp machine file 1. And if I do ls-l file 1, I don't have to worry about the group chmod user in there. So you see the difference here, right? Why chgroup is helpful. It removes the guesswork out of how you're going to assign the permissions there, or the ownership. So yeah, that's the end of user administration and permissions. Okay, you could do the same thing for the folder too. So if you do ls-ld data 2, the group for the folder is the root here, right? So what I'm going to do is chgroup machine slash data 2. Okay, and if you do ls-ld data, there you go. You're using the chgroup command, chgroup command to change the machine for the folder itself here. And definitely you could do that to own owned then a Spider-Man and data. So if you do ls-ld data, so you use chown without having to think twice that how that is being changed. Okay, so let me copy this part here.
So for ch group, you just change the group. Ch own, you can change the group and the ownership. And for ch mod, you can just change the permissions.
Yeah, but chmod also does this too. For the chmod, you have to give -g, -a, -g, and all that.
All right.
So chown is a little easier. Change the, so I'm gonna put in here below. Change the ownership of folder, right? So this is supposed to come before that here. So I'm going to manually change this to root, okay, so that you know. Change the ownership of folder. So Spider-Man is owning the folder now. Then we use the chgroup to change the folder group. And change the user ownership. That's the correct term. User ownership. Okay, this is Spider-Man. And change the group ownership. This is machine. Okay, and then change the group ownership here. So I'm gonna own data. So this part. This is what it got changed here. Okay, so let's see. change user and group. So ch own, I'm not sure if ch group will allow you to change ch group terminator and superhero. Yeah. Yeah, so ch group is only reserved for this here. So ch own is able to use the group here because it's using the ownership, because changing the group ownership is only ch group, but ch own, it will also help you with the group ownership. But I normally use to ch own and this command here, that way it will take the guesswork out of my work. And ch group is also helpful in that scenario. So ch own, ch okay, so that's about it for this. Let me see if did we finish patching, server patching and all that. Let's see here, directory nick. Yeah, the patching is done, the patching part is done. And the disk management and all that is done.
Are you in class? Did Salama come with a bag? Did Salama come with a bag?
What?
Did they come with a bag?
I don't know, I was sitting here. One day go jacket kapde.
नहीं था.
Look outside on the freezer. Okay, so did we do a secure shell? I showed you the secure shell, the passwordless. That is done. So the next topic I want to do is I did the network interface card. Okay, so the NIC bonding is done too. YUM is done. Okay, YUM upgrades, all that thing is done. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, all right. So let's kickstart on. We'll start on scripting here, okay? And then after scripting, we'll come back here and then we'll do the DNS setup. Do you have? Are you gonna? Did you know how? I mean, you said you already are doing AWS, right? Is that correct?
No. I think that was Ada who said that last time.
Adil said he was doing AWS.
Or maybe it was just something with Amazon you said last time.
Okay. I think when your dad talked to me, he talked about AWS. Maybe you were thinking to go into AWS. Is that right? What are you trying to do?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you have to know Linux really good before you get into AWS. So, what I'm gonna do is we'll talk about a little bit of network here. I will talk to you about a little bit of network here. It's not like a full network class, so that you have some good understanding about network. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste it from my other class so that we get ahead a little bit. Okay, so this part is so we'll just talk about a little bit of network. Okay, so a network, so by all means this is not a network class. Okay, network is a big, huge topic, and I'm just covering a little bit. I don't know everything about network, so but I thought you should know a little bit about network here. So what is a network? It's just a collection of computers, servers, network devices, peripherals, and all this here, right? So the basic requirement for two computers to have network is a NIC card, a media, a topology, and a protocol, and the IP address. Okay, so you have to have all these three so that the network could function here. So NIC card, what is a NIC card? This is a NIC card here, and in our virtual environment, if you look at it here, this is a NIC card. All these 1, 2, 3, 4 are NIC cards here. Okay, so almost all servers have 2 NIC cards attached to it, a minimum of. So what does a NIC card has on it? It has a MAC address. This is burnt into the system, burnt into the hardware itself. Hardware, and you cannot change it. Okay, so and what will happen is, so that is the MAC address, and there is also IP address. This is changeable here. So if you do IP-A, you will see here that since we are using bonding here, you see the MAC address here. This is this is the MAC address, and this is the IP address, IPv4 address, and this part is IPv6 address. Okay, we'll talk about IP in a little bit detail here. Okay, and then the next part we come to is media. Media will be cables. Media is cable, the RJ45 connector, Cat5, Cat6, Ethernet cable, Wi-Fi, hotspots, all these are media. Okay, because how are you going to connect? You need to have some kind of medium for the network to connect with the other system. So that's what this is for. Okay, moving forward, topology. Okay, so what is topology? It's a methodology. How are you going to make the connection here? So in old days, it used to be ring topology. All the computer has to be in a single ring, and if one computer goes down, the network goes down. Okay, then it has developed into bus topology. So you have the network here. If one computer goes down, so it doesn't matter. It is possible that, so if the first computer goes down, everything else after that goes down here. Okay, so advantage is not, so it depends where the network failure is having. So if you have a network failure here, so we would have three computers down, and the three will be up. If you have the endpoint down, then you have 5 systems up here in this picture. Then the star developed here. So if one system goes down, it's not going to matter because we have a switch in the middle. And the mesh is most robust. This is what is being used these days. Okay, and this is a tree topology. A combination of mesh and tree is being used here. So over here you have like a broadband internet connection. If that goes down, everything goes down. But if one part of the area goes down, other part of the network is going to be up. Okay? So you have a network, each router you add becomes a subnet. Okay, so you have if you bring a router home, it will allow you to connect 256 devices on it. What is that? That means it's 2 to the power of 8. 2 times 2 times 2 times 8, that will make it 256. And then if you bring home the second router and connect computers and then connect to the main cable modem, that will become another subnet. So now you have two subnets which is supporting 256 each devices. So you would have a total of 512 devices. So that's how the network grows into a bigger network. And the protocol is the method how protocol is a set of rules actually. Rules are procedures for transmitting data between two devices. Alright, we'll come back to protocol again. And then in the network, we have 7 layers of OSI model, okay? So OSI model is Open Standard of Interconnection, and it's set by EEE. IEEE, you might have heard about IEEE, right? IEEE. If you look underneath any device, you will have a number on it, IEEE, and then there will be a number. So what this do is this society is the one that is standardizing the technology. It's organizations, let's see here, IEEE. It's a non-profit, I think. So if you think you invent something here, then you have to submit your invention to IEEE and they will standardize it. Once they standardize it, then it becomes the standard. Okay, how it will be used by others. So let's see here. IEEE is Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. It was formed in 1963 and based here in US, and they have about close to 400,000 members here. So these members, it is a part of either organization or individuals. Mostly it's more organizations who are part of this. So for example, Motorola invented a radio, right? So they are the first one to invent. So what they do is they standardize something and they submit to here, and it will become a standardized. So that whatever that Motorola invented, it will become the standardized for that industry. Okay, so IEEE is the one who is standardizing the, as well as any electronic, as well as the network. Okay, now we need to worry about this protocol here, TCP and UDP. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break. I gotta take care of something. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So now I'm going to concentrate on TCP protocol. TCP is a transfer control protocol, okay? And what is this protocol? It does, so our SSH works on the TCP protocol here. Okay, so what does it do? So the transport control protocol it works on the data layer. Okay, I think I forgot about this here. So the OSI model has 7 layers in it. The first one is a physical layer, which is a hardware. Any hardware is considered a physical layer. Then second one is a data layer. So a layer which is generating the data. And the third is a network layer. Okay, so network workings, which is switching, routers, and etc. Transport layer is a communication is being done using several methods. So how is the data transported from one place to another place? That's what the transport layer is. And the session layer, once the data are assigned at the other host, the session is established between the two hosts. So it's a session layer. Presentation, data is presented to the application. See, for example, if you received a Word document, you received the data here, but you still need a presentation layer, which is an application, in this case Microsoft Word, to open the data and then read it through. Okay, so the data is presented to the application. So there is something else is going on in the background before data is read by the application, and finally the application layer. So we have the TCP protocol is going to work on data layer, network layer, transport layer, and application layer. So it's going to skip the other two one in the middle and the first one. So what is the TCP? It's a transport control protocol. Okay, it's a connection oriented protocol. So it's a connection protocol. So when we are connecting between two servers, we are using a TCP protocol. We're using SSH. You could consider SSH as an application, not application actually. SSH is a connection solution, but it's working on the TCP protocol. So when we looked at SSH, what is happening is sync is sending the message here to the server, and the server is sending the message to the client. It says syncac, and then the client is sending acknowledgement to packet, and the connection is established. So there is a connection between these two servers here. So it's called it's using the TCP protocol. Okay. And so how is the connection being established? A to B, the synchronization is set, and B to A, synchronization signal as well as the acknowledgement signal is sent. Okay. Then from there, B sends the acknowledgement again that it received the synchronization. So synchronization is sent from A, and the acknowledgement is sent from B, as well as a new synchronizations from B. And then A is acknowledging to this synchronization. It's not acknowledging to acknowledgement. It's acknowledging to synchronization. And the connection is established and data is transferred here. Okay. So how is the TCP connection established? You just say syncac. And how is the connection terminated? So now if A want to terminate the connection, it says I'm finished. It says fin, and is replying back that this server is finished also, and it's acknowledging that it received the first finish from server A. Okay, then the server B is also at the same time sending the finish connection. So it's acknowledging to the first finish connection and also sending its own finish connection to A. A acknowledges the finish connection from B. So finac. Okay, so our SSH works on port 22, right? Whenever we're connecting here, this one is all automatically set here. SSH by default is using port 22. So how many ports we have inside the operating system? Is 2 to the power of 16, which means we have 65,536 connections. We have 65,536 ports here. So we could have up to that many connections simultaneously at one time. So that is what the operating system is capable of handling, the connections here. So what is the port here? Maybe a little confusing. So I'm going to say port number for SSH. So what will come? It will come to 22. Okay. Now let's see what is the port number for Skype. So Skype is using these many ports. It's using the TCP, which is the default here, and it's using UDP also. We'll talk about the UDP in a minute. So I'll say port number 4, right there, Google Voice. What is Google Voice using? No. Let me go back. What are the other applications we have here? RDP. Remote desktop. In the Windows environment, you have RDP, remote desktop. So the port number for remote desktop is 3389. Okay, so what else we have here is port number 4, TeamViewer. TeamViewer is using port 5938. So you could block that port and TeamViewer will never be able to work in there. That's the network layer thing you have to do. If we want to block something, that's the port you have to open up in the firewall. So we'll talk about that later. Yeah, you have a question?
No.
So there is a command here. If you call clear, which netstat? Netstat is not installed on this here. So what I'm going to do is ps-ef. I'm going to grep for W22. So what do we have here is I don't want to install anything right now. Give me 1 minute here.
Okay.
Okay, I have this server here because this server is updated. So if I do netstat -anp all network ports grep 22. Okay, grep W22 minus W22. Okay, so what is happening here is it will tell you that this server here 22, it's using TCP protocol, okay, and established here as root, and these are the process IDs. We will work on that a little later. And this is SSHD, the daemon. Remember I talked about the daemon? This is what the service is running in the background, okay? And it's running on port 22. So I will talk about this when we do the troubleshooting a little later. Alright, so the next thing is, when you are looking up for the netstat command, you bring up this one of this here, GUI upgrade. Turn into this server here, it will download all the utilities in there, or have already downloaded the utilities. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so now let's talk about the UDP. So here the server and the client, they're making a specific connection here. But what does UDP does is, UDP stands for Universal Datagram Protocol. I'm sorry, user datagram protocol. So it's not a, it's like a connectionless protocol, and it just sends the data over the network, and it doesn't care if the server receives the data or not. It just throws the data on it, and it doesn't care if the data is received by the receiver or not. So the classic example is a broadcast, a radio broadcast. It broadcasting, right? You just have to worry, it doesn't have to worry about if the radio is other radios in the area are getting the signal or not. It just broadcasts itself. Okay, so this is called a UDP protocol. Within UDP you have two. One is a broadcast. So by default UDP is broadcast. Unless you say the UDP multicast, that means these servers have to be part of the group and it will receive the data. But still the server which is sending out the data doesn't care. It just throws the data on to the network, and it's the responsibility of the receiving servers that they get the data. But so this is throwing the data to the group without confirmation. And you just have to remember the TCP and UDP differences. TCP is connection oriented. It establishes the connection before it transfers the data. And the UDP is connectionless. It just throws the data out. It's a connectionless. It does the radio, your radio is not making like a direct connection with the broadcast station, right? It's just receiving the data. So there is no connection. Okay, and TCP is reliable because it is making sure the data is received at the other end. UDP is, it doesn't care if the data is received or not. TCP is going to be slow. It's actually fast, but slow compared to UDP. Okay? And TCP is, these are the things that is using a TCP here. So I'm going to add SSH also. SSH, HTTP, FTP, SMTP, TCP, all these are TCP protocols. And UDP protocols are DNS, DHCP, and broadcast. These are UDP protocols. Okay, so don't sweat too much about this. These are just the protocol here. For this class, you just have to remember TCP and UDP. TCP is a connection-oriented protocol, and UDP is a connectionless protocol. TCP is slow, UDP is fast. TCP is reliable, UDP is unreliable.